Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about the cheery subject of why we need to talk about death. This comes from the recent death of my brother, and I've gone through lots of different bereavements in my family, and I'm unfortunately becoming a bit of an expert in this. But anyway, the problem with death is that we are all going to experience it. We'll experience our own, and we're going to experience the death of someone close to us. So why don't we talk about it as a society? Why is it something that we try to avoid? Now, I think that this has to do with feeling like death might be closer if we talk about it or something like that, which, if you think about it rationally, is a stupid idea. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to talk about it. If you want to talk with me about it at some point, reach out to me. I'm happy to do it. It doesn't make me cry and remember all my family. It actually helps. So why should we talk about death? Well, for me, there are three main areas of why. One is a very selfish reason, because if we talk about our death with other people, we are able to in some way control or influence how people remember us. We might be able to explain to them very clearly how we would like our funeral or memorial service to go, what we would like doing with our ashes or when we're buried. All of this can help us to build our legacy. So if you want a selfish reason for why you should talk about death, being able to influence your legacy. If you want a more altruistic reason as to why you should talk about death, think about helping your friends and family, your loved ones, after you die. Now, usually when we think about death, we think about it in a really long term, oh no, it's very far away. If I'm a healthy person, it's something that's very far away. But that is something we just don't know. So we need to be prepared, and we need to help people as much as possible to be able to deal with not just the grief and the process of losing us, but also all of our stuff. Believe me, I've just got back from sorting out my brother's house. We have a lot of stuff. Even if we die in middle age, there is a lot of stuff that we have to deal with. So how can you help your friends and family to deal with that? Well, you can talk about it. You can make a will, which requires talking about it. You can decide who's getting what. You can organize your bank accounts. This is something that I wasn't doing until very recently. Having all of my stuff very well organized is not just something that is useful for you. You might think, oh, yeah, I'll do that in another day because, who's it for? It's just for me. It's not just for you. It's for your loved ones. So it's kind of a way of looking after them, to be able to talk about it, express what you want, make it much easier for them, and also make things very clear, as simple as possible for them when they have to go through this horrible task of sorting out all your stuff. So if that's starting to feel uncomfortable, just thinking about this now, or just seeing me talking about it on video, ask yourself a little bit why. Now, this is something that's inbuilt into our society. If you think back to Victorian times, well, you probably weren't around, but if we think about what was going on in Victorian times, there were massive funerals, there were huge periods of mourning, and people be dressed in black for years and things like that. And we might think that that is a bit of an exaggeration, but to a certain extent, it's better than the way we are now, and we try to hide it. We try to say, oh no, it's not affecting me at all. I can still continue. I'm fine. And actually, you're probably not fine. Doesn't mean you can't continue, doesn't mean you can't move forward. You're probably not fine talking and thinking about death. And that's a society thing. Once we get past that, we can think, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it like we talk about other difficult subjects. And there are many ways you can do this, actually. Obviously, you can start talking about it with your friends or family, and there are games that you can get, card games, that can help you to talk about this, and it brings in a really deep conversation and a really lovely conversation. It doesn't have to be something that is incredibly heavy and difficult to deal with. It can be something that is quite light and fun, and you can have a laugh with it, believe me. So you can talk with friends and family. You can talk with a therapist about it, obviously. Like I said before, I'm totally happy to talk about this, and eventually a lot of my clients end up talking with me about it. Not because I push them, just because it comes out. You can also join different clubs, and there are different things like death cafes in different countries, just to start talking about it. This is all leading towards the third reason that I mentioned, which is accepting death as a normal part of humanity. We sometimes feel like, oh, this is something terrible. This is something, I should shield my children from this. I should make sure that nobody feels like they're infected by me dealing with death. And that is absolute bullshit. We all deal with this. It's all part of our lives. And the more we can talk about it, the more we can accept it, the better we're all going to feel about it, to be honest. If I have to hide my grief, if I had to pretend that I'm fine all the time, that's incredibly damaging for me. If I can talk about it occasionally in a non-heavy, difficult way, then that's really useful for me and for everybody else. So why do we need to talk about death? We need to talk about it for selfish reasons, to make sure we're remembered in the way we want to be remembered. We need to talk about it for altruistic reasons, by helping the people that we love to sort out our estate and sort out all our stuff and deal with their grief process. And we need to talk about it because we're human and because it's part of this human process of life. Life is death as well. That's the whole reason that we live the way we do, is because we know we will die at the end. Things would be very different if we lived forever. Anyway, not going to get into that, just wanted to make this point. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, get this sorted, have a nice conversation, connect deeper, and everyone will be happier for it. I promise. Bye for now.